Let's make some Iberico four-rib rack with some bacon-nectared potatoes and onions. Hi everybody, thanks for joining the channel. I'm Ukulele Jay and I am here to show you a very simple cook with Iberico pork. Now this is a 4-bone Iberico rack. The Iberico pork comes from the Iberian Peninsula over in Spain, and you cannot get a better pork, in my opinion, than Iberico pork. Take a look at this. This marbling is absolutely incredible. You can see the intramuscular fat that is between that meat, and it is gonna turn this into a delicious, tender, and super flavorful Iberico pork rack. Now we're gonna do some simple seasoning. One of the rubs is the Joint by Lawman Rub Company. It's a fantastic garlic butter rub. And then we're also gonna hit it with some fresh ground cracked pepper using my Hex-Clad pepper mill. And that's all you need. Keep it really simple. You wanna taste the pork. We're gonna coat that with some avocado oil and get this really nice and crispy on the outside and super tender and juicy on the inside. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you how I prepared this dish, including some bacon potatoes and onions using some bacon nectar. Now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna coat this with some really nice avocado oil. Now I use avocado oil versus olive oil for one main reason if you're gonna do this indoors. And for this cook, I will be cooking it in the oven. I've had a lot of people send me messages saying, hey, we know you do a lot of barbecue, but we don't have a barbecue. So can you do some of your recipes and show us how you would do it just using an oven in your kitchen? So that's what this video is designed for. You can actually go out on the smoker, give you the temperatures, but it's actually gonna go in the oven. We're gonna bring it up slowly, then we're gonna actually crank up the broiler, and we're gonna go and hit this and give it a really crispy outside because that fat is really where it's at. We're gonna render it, but we're also gonna make that fat crispy on the outside, especially along this area. This is not Frenched, but we don't wanna leave it French because there's some really good meat in here between those bones. We wanna actually cut that. When we're done, then we'll have some meat on the bone and a nice chopped meat right here. So the reason I use avocado oil is that it has a very high smoke temperature. The smoking temperature for olive oil is this. The smoking temperature for avocado oil is this. So you want to make sure you use avocado oil because that way you avoid a lot of smoke. It's also going to let your meat burn quicker as well. We don't want to burn the meat. We want to get it nice and crispy and get that nice char on the outside with the broiler. So we'll take our avocado oil, like a spritzer like this, and we're just going to hit it real quick like that. You don't need a ton of it. We want to hit it all over. Now it's going to coat the meat. It's going to give us a layer of protection. And I don't call this a binder. People will say, oh, well, I use olive oil or, butter or mayonnaise or whatever they use for a binder. This really isn't a binder. This is really part of the cooking process because we want that meat protected and we want to get that nice browning. Now, the seasonings on this that I'm using will bind to this. A lot of people in barbecue will use binders to get seasonings to stick to meat. But if you've watched a lot of my videos, I don't really use a binder per se. Usually the meat, if it's moist, I bring it to room temperature, it starts to sweat a little bit, put a little salt on it, and that's all you need. Matter of fact, a little bit of salt will cause it to sweat. You can then use your seasonings, so you don't have to actually put on like a mustard binder, which is very common, and I don't use mustard binders on anything that I cook. So we'll go and coat this with the Joint Lawman Rub Company. Fantastic product, really love it. And we're gonna go ahead and just coat this on here, not too heavy, but we want to get everything, including those bones, because eat the bones is some of the best part of this when it gets done. So we're going to go ahead and coat this. Go nice and high. That'll give you a nice even coating on the meat. And if you can see here, everything is nicely coated right here. We're going to go ahead and hit this with some nice cracked pepper. I set my setting about a medium grain on this. Again, don't need a whole lot. Once you have your glove off, you can use that to actually grab this and turn it over like so. Go ahead and hit this again with the pepper. And that's it. We've got our meat perfectly done. And then we're gonna go on to the side dishes, and then we're gonna go ahead and throw this in the preheated oven. I'll give you all the information in just a second, and we're gonna have an absolutely incredible meal. Now, I highly recommend you use a wireless thermometer probe. If not, make sure you have an instant thermometer ready because you wanna make sure that your meat does not exceed the temperatures I'm about to give you. For this cook, I do not want to exceed 130 degrees in the oven. We're going to go ahead and take it out at 130. We're going to let it rest for a few minutes, and then we're going to crank up the broiler. We don't want to go over 145. So having this is important. We're going to take this and put this inside the meat, and I'm going to go right through the center here. And right now we're talking about 57 degrees on the inside, which is fine. It's actually been sitting out for almost an hour. I keep my fridge around 35 degrees. It's now at 54. And we're gonna go ahead and set this up for the temp. I've got it set for 130 degrees to alert me. It's gonna let me know before it's done to take it out. It'll still rise to about 130, get the broiler going, put it in, and then we'll be good to go. So let's now move on to our vegetables. Now for the vegetables today, I'm doing something that's one of my favorite things. I love my bacon. This is Billy's Bacon out of Fairhope, Alabama. It is absolutely, oh my God, it's the most delicious smelling hickory smoked bacon you've had in your life. And I've got bacon nectar. Now, if you don't know what bacon nectar is, you gotta get over to Billy's Bacon and get some. So we're gonna use that with our bacon. We've got our delicious sweet onions. I got a little bit of smoked paprika on here. And we have our multicolored purple, yellow, gold potatoes. I basically slice those up, and I'm gonna show you real quick how I did this. The bacon, of course, I stack it up, the slices, and then I go and just cut it across because I want strips, not cubes. I want bacon strips because that's gonna actually mix in and look really great with the onions and potatoes. Same type of style. Everything's gonna look amazing once it's plated up. So we'll take this, the bacon's already done, we're gonna heat that up, and we're gonna get that fat rendered and get all this good stuff cooking with the fat and our bacon nectar. But I'm gonna show you how I do this. So for the potatoes, it's really simple. I take the potatoes and leave them down so how they're actually laying naturally. So what I want to do then is I want to turn them over at 90 degrees. I'm going to slice them, bring them back down to the natural position, and then I'm going to go ahead and just slice these like so. And you want to do them pretty thin because the potatoes you want to have cooked quick, and that's it. And when these are done, you've got your potato strips, which are not super thick, so I'm going to cook quick, and they're going to look really, really nice with that elongated look. Again, potato goes down, let it find the normal spot. I put it at 90 degrees, roll it back over, and then I go and just slice it like so. Also helps to have a very sharp knife, and that's it. And now you've got your potatoes sliced. So I did all those in advance, not to bore you with chopping potatoes for 10 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and show you how I did the onion. It's very simple. Just cut the onion in half, like so. Turn it over, and we're gonna go ahead and just cut it straight across like this. And the onion I want to have a little bit thicker because we don't want to burn them. We want them to caramelize and get nice and brown. And that's it. And once these are done, break these up like so. Now for the onions, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some more of this Joint Lawman Rub Company. This is the garlic butter. Fantastic seasoning. Don't be afraid to go a little bit heavy on this. It'll be great. So we got our potatoes, some more of the garlic butter on the potatoes. And we're going to mix that up like so. Now the potatoes, when you cut them, will actually start exuding moisture. So you don't have to really use anything on them. But what we're going to do is we're going to use some avocado oil, not on the potatoes. We're going to use it in the pan because the potatoes will actually pick up that avocado oil, but you want to have just enough so those potatoes get really crispy. If you coat these things with a lot of oil, you're not going to get that crisp, or it's going to take you a really long time, and you might get some smoke going, especially if you use olive oil, which is why I recommend to use avocado oil. Now for the onions, we're going to go ahead and mix that up as well. We've got a little bit of the smoked paprika. I had plenty on there on the bottom, so it'll all mix together. Now for our bacon, we're not going to add anything because this is absolutely the most incredible bacon in the world. We're going to go over here to the stove. We're going to get this cooking and get our vegetables going, and then we're going to put our meat in and let that go. And hopefully the timing all comes together because that's obviously one of the most critical things when you're cooking is your timing. You don't want to have something done so far in advance that now you're waiting for the other food. So I'm going to try to time these just about right. This meat's going to take probably about 35 minutes to do it. So we're going to put the meat in first. When we're about 20 minutes in, I'm going to go ahead and start with the vegetables. It's going to take about 15 minutes, and we'll have just enough time to take this out, turn on the broiler, get it broiled, finish our veggies and put it together, cut it up, and have an absolutely incredible meal. So here we have our pans ready on the stove. We're going to go and add our avocado oil in here. Again, not a lot. And one of the things you want to do with this is you want to make sure your pan gets really hot. Don't put your oil in and then put all your vegetables in while the pan just gets turned on. You want to actually get this really hot first. We're going to show you why in just a sec. So we have our pan on high. We're going to go ahead and get the avocado oil in here like so. Don't need a ton of it, but we are going to put quite a few potatoes in there. So we're going to get that just about like that. We're going to let that heat up. And we're going to go ahead and add our potatoes first. We're going to add our bacon in with it. We want that kind of stew together, get those bacon juices, all of those potatoes. And then we're going to put our onions in last because those are actually going to cook the quickest. Now in the back here, I have a second pan. This is on kind of a low to medium heat, medium-low. We're going to put our bacon in here, and we're going to let that kind of come together, add our nectar. So now we're going to add our bacon. Now with the bacon on medium, you don't want to have this sizzling when you put it in. We want to actually get this fat to start rendering. So you want to get it really flexible. We don't want to crisp the bacon, not yet, because we're gonna extract that fat and render that down. We're gonna add our bacon nectar into that as well, and that's gonna make absolutely a mind-blowing flavor for our potatoes and onions. Now, as we start to render down our bacon, you can see this is how we have it cooked up in strips like so. You just wanna let that heat up and let that fat start rendering, and then we'll be ready for the next step. Now, Billy's Bacon, my really good friend Billy out of Flavorful, Alabama, he has an incredible bacon producing company, one of the best in the United States. And his bacon is hickory smoked. It is on custom smokers. It's brined specifically to his recipe, and it is not salty. I do like bacon that's just loaded with salt. So this bacon is really flavorful. It's delicious, but the nectar has a higher salt content. I want to get a little higher salt content to add into my potatoes and onions. So we're going to add some of this nectar into the bacon, like so. And we're just going to go with like 2 tablespoons is all you need. That's really going to enhance that bacon flavor. Now, I've just added the potatoes in here. You want to make sure that you let these potatoes cook for a good 20-25 minutes. We want the potatoes to soften up. As that process occurs, it's going to absorb that nectar with the bacon into the potatoes and also coat the outside of the potatoes. We've got also our garlic butter in there as well, and the flavor on this is just incredible. Now, one of the tricks I like to do is I like to cook my onions separately. That's because I add a little bit of that avocado oil, get it super hot, and I want to get these onions in here. I don't want them sitting for a super long period of time. I want to get them hot, fast. I want to get that caramelization going, and these onions in a separate pan are much easier to do than trying to put it in with something else, because the heat for this is not the heat that I want for that. So cooking it separately is really the best way to go in this situation. So while our potatoes are cooking, we're going to go ahead and start our onions. High heat, nice sizzle, that's what we want to hear. Let our onions sit maybe about 3 to 4 minutes at a time, and then just go ahead and give them a little toss and flip them over, and I can already see some of this is getting brown. So we're going to go a few more minutes, do this a couple more times. We should have some really nice golden caramelized onions. Now, people ask me, do I cover these things with a lid? The answer is, in this case, no. If I cover something with a lid, it's going to generate moisture, even if I have a steam hole in the top, and I don't want to introduce any water here. But if I have a lid on it and I have that water being introduced, it's going to keep things kind of mushy. So for this, I don't cover it. Onions, same thing. In this case, I want the water to evaporate. I want to get these nice and golden brown and caramelized, and so I don't want to introduce water. I want that water to evaporate like you're seeing here. That's not smoke, it's actually evaporation, and that's going to let these get nice and beautiful when it comes to the caramelization color. So now that I have my vegetables going, we're going to go ahead and stick this in the oven, because it's going to take a while for vegetables, and we want this to warm up nicely, 275 degrees on bake in the oven. So we have our meat in, our vegetables are cooking, and these are about 75% done on the potatoes, and we're going to go ahead and put our onions in here. And what I told you is you have this beautiful caramelization. It's an absolutely gorgeous copper color. And that's what you want when it comes to the onions, no more white. We're going to add that in to our potatoes and our bacon right now. There we go. Make sure you shut off your stove for safety. And then we're going to go ahead and stir this up. And you're going to take all that delicious bacon with the potatoes. And look at this. See this bacon? Look at the pieces here. That's what you want to see, those nice, beautiful pieces of bacon. Oh my God, it smells so good. We're going to mix this up, and then we're going to go ahead and turn the heat down on this, because now you want this to kind of simmer, and that's going to get the potatoes really soft. And just let them sit, be patient while the meat gets to temperature. Now, one of the things I like to do is take a separate taste, and I want to make sure that the salinity, the saltiness, isn't too powerful, and also is enough. If not, I'm going to add some more bacon nectar. Oh, it's actually perfect. Nice bacon flavor, huge bacon flavor. A hickory smoke, you can taste that. Absolutely amazing. Now, a lot of my videos, my cooking, my meals, I don't show a lot of wine. So I'm going to start including that for those of you wine lovers out there. This is an incredible 2014 Williams-Sonoma, Sonoma County, Caligari Vineyard. Absolutely fantastic. I've actually cellared this for about 10 years. Any pork dish you have screams Pinot Noir. Okay, so we have our early warning on our pork. We're going to take it out of the oven and let it rest for a few minutes. Our pork is looking absolutely fantastic, but it has this grayish color. So we're going to go ahead and get the broiler going, broil it up, get it up to that temperature. We'll be good to go. We're about 128 degrees right now. It's going to raise to about 132. Put it back in. We want to have it out by about 136, no more than 140. Okay, we're going to stick this in the broiler, and we're going to get these vegetables nice and hot. Here we have our beautiful 4-bone rack Nice and hot, it's cooling down. We're gonna cut it up, plate it up, see how it tastes. Take out our thermometer, let's let it rest here for just a few more minutes. Looking really good. Okay, let's give it a cut and see how we did here. We want this to be perfect medium rare. Look at that, nice and pink. Not too pink, but that's how you want your pork to look. Nice and hot, pink, juicy. I mean, look at this, watch this. Look at this juice. That's incredible. Fantastic all the way through. Now we'll add a little color to this. These are piquant peppers, and these are really sweet. So I'm just gonna cut it with a fork. It's so tender, you do not need a knife at all. There we go. That's outstanding. Get some of that piquant pepper, onions, the bacon. Wow, what do you think?
Delicious.
Pretty good, oh my God. This is an absolute hit. I'll have this recipe on my website, ukulelejbbq.com, and tell me what you think. This is something you can make in your house, in your oven. You don't need a barbecue. Incredible flavor. If you love bacon, you're gonna love this. And if you love pork in general, the Iberico pork's out of sight. Now I wanna taste the pork, but I like adding a little bit of sweet to this saltiness. And so I use aged balsamic. We're gonna take this and we're just gonna drizzle this right over like so. Absolutely incredible. There's our aged balsamic on there. That's gonna give you an enhanced bite. Use a knife just for quick sake. One slice across, that's it. Look at that, it's ready to go. I love the balsamic. The combination of that sweet and salty is absolutely incredible. And even a little bit of balsamic on the onions and the bacon. Bacon balsamic, amazing. So I hope you like this video. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that notification bell for other cooks. This channel is for kitchen home cooks, private chefs, backyard barbecuers. So make sure you subscribe and check it all out, and we'll see you on the next one. Smoke on, baby.